Welcome, everyone. You are in the right place. If you are here for the parent information session to learn more about our Future Millionaire Money Camp for Kids, so come on in. We are just getting started, and this won't take long at all, but this is a unique opportunity for you to ask questions, learn more about our program, see if it's a good fit for your teenager. And so Future Millionaire Money Camp for Kids is for ages 14 and up. So come on in the room, because we are getting ready to get started. And I'm just going to do a quick, a few housekeeping items. I want to make sure that you can hear me, that you can see me okay, that you can see the screen nice and clear. So if you can hear me, if you could go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. If you are joining me on Zoom, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. Make sure you guys are good. If you can hear me, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. If you can see me okay, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat. This is just my technical check to make sure we are good to go, and also to make sure that you can see the screen and everything that you should. All right, so thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. You can hear and see me, and then can you see the screen all right as well? Let me just make sure I'm sharing my screen, and it does appear that I am sharing my screen. Let's click over here. I'm going to do that one more time just to make sure the audio is all good and ready to go. All right, so if you can see the screen, somebody give me a thumbs up, put something in the chat, put yes in the chat, and then with that, I will jump right into what we have for today. All right, so if you're joining me in Zoom, or if you're joining me on our YouTube channel, go ahead and just let me know where you're joining me from. And then I'm also curious to know how old your teenagers are. So let me know where you're joining me from and how old your teenagers are. And I warn you in advance, this is going to be interactive, right? This is an information session. I'm going to give you some good information. You'll learn something. You'll actually take something away as well. But I will be talking to you, and I want you guys to talk right back to me. All right, so Atlanta, perfect. You have an 18-year-old. That is fabulous. Well, like I said, I want this to be a valuable use of your time. So for those who are able to stay to the end, I want to gift you this free resource. And we're going to talk about this just a little bit. But one of the biggest things that I see parents need to do more of is to start sparking money conversations in their home. Like, just make it part of your everyday conversation. And so this resource that I created is going to be a good tool for you to kind of give you some starter questions, and then you can dive deeper and really open up. It'll open your eyes up to what your kids are accustomed to, what they think they know, but may not really understand. Where are the areas where you might need to dive deeper with them? So stay to the end and you will receive this great resource from me. And I want to kick it off with a question. So if I wonder just if any of you, if any of my parents on today have ever wondered what would they have liked to have known if they could go back and just talk to their younger self when it comes to money. What are some things that you would have known if, you know, before you became an adult, before you got out on your own? What are some things you wish somebody had taught you at a younger age when it comes to money and money management? Let me know that in the chat. What are some things that you wish people had taught you or discussed with you? A lot of times when I ask this question, I get a lot of feedback. Well, they're like, well, Holly, I wish someone had taught me about investing, or I wish someone had taught me about, credit, or, the pitfalls of debt. And it's so important. Yes, and Brandon says about credit cards, about life in general, right? I think as adults, we often assume our kids know more than they do. And it may seem like we're babying them or covering things again that we think they should know, or we take it for granted. That a lot of times we just need to have these conversations, ask these questions just to see where their mindset is around different topics. And I say different topics because money is no different. Money management is a life skill that they will use for the rest of their lives. And so it's really important that we get this right early on so that we can help them avoid a lot of the more common financial pitfalls in life. And so that's what this parent information session is about. That's what me hosting our future money camps for our teens is all about. Because what I want you to discover, like in our time together, I want you to discover how to take where your kids' financial knowledge is today, like where it is now, and move the needle to where we really need them to be. Because as teenagers, the things that they are looking forward to, they are eager, they are anxious to making more decisions independent of you, right? They are looking for more independence. They can't wait to get out of the house. They're thinking about their future. And if they're not, they will very soon, right? The reality of it all is going to hit very soon as they decide to go to college, or they decide to go into the military, or go right into the job force, right? And as parents, we want to make sure that they are equipped with the foundational tools that they need in order to be successful on the other side. And so I have another question, and I just want to ask, like, why is it important for you personally? This is a personal choice. Why did you show up today? Who referred you? Who told you about tonight's session, right? Why is it important for you as a parent to stir up what I call this financial awakening in our child or in our teenagers? Why is it important for you? Let me know that in the chat. Why is it important for you? Why should you be intentional about, making sure that they have a good relationship with money? Why should you be intentional about making sure that they are practicing and mastering money habits before they leave the nest? Why is it important? Right? So I'm seeing some comments. I'm saying, it's important because I want them to start generational wealth. Absolutely. Absolutely. Many of us have come from various backgrounds where maybe the only thing we know is financial struggle. And thank you for saying that. Somebody said they come from a single parent household, and when there was a lack of money, right? Many of us as adults, as parents, many of us are making the most money any of our families have seen in their lifetime. And if that's the case, that means you are likely in a position to start passing down some assets, passing down some wealth. And let me tell you, if we are not leaving a blueprint, if we are not leaving that master playbook for our kids to follow, to repeat it, right? To grow the wealth or the assets, to take care of the things that we are leaving behind, it's all for nothing, right? So I agree with you, and your response is, it is so important for us to stir up this financial awakening now. And I say the sooner the better, the earlier the better. But I am specifically in this month of February kicking off our Future Millionaire Money Camps for teens, because a lot of our teens are, like I said, they are about to be on this road where all they're going to be thinking about, all they're going to be striving for is independence, wanting to do things independently. And we need to make sure that they are equipped. Not only that, I know there are a lot of parents who are about to become empty nesters. Do I have any soon to be empty nesters in the building, right? Maybe your child is on that 17, 18-year cusp where they are about to be on their own journey, making their own decisions. And it becomes real important or increases that sense of urgency for us to make sure that they got it, right? Have we taught them everything? Have we exposed them to the things that they need to be exposed to just to avoid kind of the immediate dangers or pitfalls that might be coming on that journey as they pursue a career, as they pursue higher education, as they pursue, a different, traveling, taking a gap year, whatever it is, these are some things where we're going to have to start releasing them and trusting them. And for a lot of parents, this may be the very first time. So let me just do a quick introduction. If this is your first time meeting me or interacting with me, I just want to assure you that you are in great hands. I am a certified public accountant. I am a financial educator. A couple of years ago, I wrote this book, Teach Your Child to Fish, 5 Money Habits Every Child Should Master. And it's targeted to parents just like you about what we should be talking to our kids about before they leave the nest. And after I wrote this book and received an award for it, I started getting lots of invitations from media, from the press, from different organizations wanting me to come in and talk to them about what are the key things that I talk about in the book, right? What are the key things that we need to make sure our kids know and understand about money before they exit? And the reason I even wrote this book is just based off of my own personal experiences with money, my own personal hiccups, failures, triumphs with money, right? And so if you've never heard my story before, you'll find that it's not that different from many other people's story, right? And that's what makes it special, because if we are all experiencing some of the same things, then there's got to be some common solutions so that we aren't experiencing some of the same things. So my parents did what most parents do. They taught me and my sisters everything that they knew about how, to be successful in life. So I'm the youngest of 4 girls. That's me sitting in my mom's lap, right? And my dad would give us a lot of money advice when we were growing up. And my parents were really big on education, and education being the key to, solve the world's problems, to solve, to put us on the path to being successful. And so while they set like really high goals for each of us, by the time I was 23, I had met their mark. I had checked off everything that they asked of us to do, right? My parents wanted me to go to college, so I did. I went to North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, North Carolina, graduated with honors. I bought a house because that was something that my dad just pounded into me and my sisters over and over again. And when I graduated, I started working for one of the top public accounting firms in the world. And so by all measures, I was considered the epitome of young and successful, right? So much so that I was doing exactly what our America teaches us to do. And so our America teaches us to live above our means, to not save a dime, to accumulate a bunch of debt. I'm talking credit card debt, student loans, auto loans, you name it. I had a whole house, right? And what happened was the dot-com bubble burst, right? So what that essentially means is that the economy started to tank. And the accounting firm that I started working for at the time started losing clients left and right. And guess what? Little Miss Epitome of Success lost her job. And y'all, it was my first taste of, hitting rock bottom. This was my first taste of uh, falling or failing at something and not having a plan on the other side of it. And during this time, I was hurt, I was humiliated because while my parents gave me great advice, I had not exercised all of that great advice, right? And so I was ashamed for being so wasteful. I was ashamed for not being more prepared for the layoff. And so I vowed in that time frame that I would never be caught off guard again. And so what did I do? I got back on my bike. I started riding. And what I mean by riding is I started reading everything that I could about money. I started listening to the financial gurus back of that time. Back then, it was Dave Ramsey, it was Susan Orman. I was going to their seminars, reading their books, drinking all the Kool-Aid, right? Putting things into practice because I wanted to be financially sound. I didn't want to be caught off guard ever again. And if somebody ever caught me off guard, I was going to have a backup plan, right? And so with that education, with me learning from these experts, I managed to claw my way out of over $30,000 in debt. And once I did that, I started preaching the debt-free gospel because I wanted everyone I knew and everyone I didn't know to experience what it felt like on the other side of student loan debt, on the other side of credit card debt, on the other side of auto loans, right? It just set off this fire where I just started talking about it. And that's how the book was created. That's how the master playbook was created. And so today I'm married to a wonderful man, and our my bonus son is now out on his own doing his thing. And now that he's on his path to thriving and becoming successful, for us, me and my husband, now it's all about us building a legacy and leaving a legacy. So this is a picture of just me with my nieces and nephews where we're taking them on college tours and we're talking to them about their careers and what are their next steps, and doing all we can to make sure they don't repeat some of the same money mistakes that we made in our early, adulthood, right? And so again, that is why the Master Playbook exists today. We are on a mission to equip the next generation to master money. We are on a mission to empower parents like you to give your kids a financial head start. And how we do that is through our financial literacy resources, our workshops, and then of course our signature programs like our Future Millionaire Money Camp for Kids. And so in the work that I do, I hear a lot of feedback from parents, right? I get a lot of feedback from parents and they're like, well, Holly, you know what? I've already had this talk with my kids about money. They get it. They know not to mess up. Right? And let me tell y'all something about these talks y'all are giving y'all kids. No shade, because my parents did the same thing. No shade, right? Our kids are tired of listening to us. They listen to us about so many things, and what they heard was a lecture, right? What they heard was don't do this and don't do that. But I want to make sure that we are giving our kids another voice that they can hear, to potentially even tell them some of the same things you've been telling to them, but it's going to come from a different perspective, right? And so keep talking to them, right? Keep giving them sound financial advice, but you also want to make sure that they hear it from other reliable sources, right? That they hear it from other people who have a different perspective, who can talk to them in a way that they understand and can immediately relate to, right? Other things I hear from parents, they say, well, you know what, Holly, I don't have the extra money for my kids to waste on figuring it out, right? On learning how to manage money wisely. And if that's you, then I can totally relate to that too. Like I said, I was raised in a household where I was the youngest of 4 girls. And so our disposable income was small, right? We were paying for the essentials in life. And so again, my parents didn't have a lot of money and time to waste, which is why we've incorporated some really cool ways that your kids can earn money and cash incentives, things that they can use to actually practice the money habits that we talk to them about during the camp. And then another big thing I hear from parents is they're like, Holly, I get it. This is important, but my kids' schedule, they are too busy. They're playing basketball, they travel baseball players, they on the cheerleading gymnastic team, they on the debate team, they doing all the things. And while I encourage that, right? While I encourage our kids to dance and play basketball and participate in all of these extracurricular activities, the real question I have for parents who just tell me their kids are too busy or can't take anything else on, my real question is, are they too busy to be exposed to skills that are going to set them up for a lifetime? And I can tell you, by the next slide I'm going to show you, is that you got to make the time, right? You have to create the space and create the priority for your teenagers, right? Because look at where we are. This slide is just filled with a couple of the statistics out there that just tell us the state of financial literacy in the US. Right now, as of last year in 2023, there were 29 states that did not require our high school students to take a course on personal finance before they graduated from high school. Now, this number has increased and grown since I've been in this space, which I'm so grateful for. But even talking to them in high school, that means we've got to have a sense of urgency to make sure that they understand it, right? And when we are living in a society where we're almost close to a cashless society where transactions are digitized, they don't even see the money anymore, it becomes even more important, even more relevant for us to make sure that they understand and that they have a good understanding, right? Okay. So you can read these statistics, but the biggest thing is that financial literacy is not an issue of one population. It's not unique to Black or brown people. It's not unique to people who were born or raised in poverty, which our media and society and culture want to push that narrative. But it knows no color. It knows no socioeconomic lines. And so we can no longer stand by and just ignore it and hope that our kids catch it on the back end. We've got to be proactive and make sure they are getting this information on the front end and mastering it, right? So today, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to talk you through 3 steps that you can take right now to raise money smart adults. And then we're going to jump into the specifics of our money camp for kids or money camp for teens. All right. So 3 quick steps. These are the steps. You got to talk the talk. You got to make money lessons stick. And you got to make sure that your kids are have different experiences and are exposed to some different things. All right. So those are the 3 steps. We're going to talk about each one of those right now. So first, talk the talk. We're going to move quickly. Talk the talk. What I tell parents when I say talk the talk is we are our children's first financial advisor. So that means our voices have to be the loudest, right? Not TikTok, not YouTube influencers, not their friends passing on financial advice from who knows where. We as parents have to be their first financial advisor, and we have to be the loudest voice. And so in order to do that, goes back to the resource that I'm going to send you if you stay to the end, is you got to jumpstart those money conversations, right? I'm talking even this weekend, break the silence, incorporate money talks into your everyday conversation, right? What I hear a lot of times are parents, they'll tell me, they're like, well, Holly, I kind of feel like a hypocrite because I don't really have my finances all together. But what I tell parents is, listen, you don't have to be intimidated. You don't have to have a PhD to talk to your kids about money. In fact, all you have to do is talk about the things you know, right? And if if you feel like, well, I don't know everything, that's the perfect opportunity to learn some things together with your team. In fact, just talk to your kids about your money mistakes, right? Talk to them about those money mistakes and what you learned from your money hiccups or mishaps. But here's the important thing is you have to be vulnerable. You need to be able to share your expectations with your teenagers. And this is another area where I see parents kind of pull back or shrink a little bit is, and I'm gonna give you an example. And a great example is your kid gets their first job. They start working at Chick-fil-A or Foot Locker or wherever, the ice cream shop, wherever it is. They get their first job. But before they get their first job, you have not had a conversation with them about what you expect them to do with that paycheck, with that money you're earning. I hear tons of moms, even dads, say, well, it's their money. They're making it, they're earning it. So it's their money. They can do whatever they want to do. And I want to inspire you, encourage you to take a different mindset when it comes to that, right? As long as they are under your care, as long as they are living under your roof, your responsibility, your charge is to give them guidance on what they need to be doing. That means sharing some expectations. Hey, you're about to start earning money. I love it. I think it's great. But this is what I need you to do. I need you to save some. I need you to invest some. I need you to, you can use some on whatever you want to buy. But these are the 3 or 4 things that I expect you to do with the money that you earn. And it's totally up to you, because at the end of the day, I want you to be able to share your expectations that are aligned with your family values, right? Align those things with what you think are important for your kids to know. And if you need help, if you need some insight on what those things could be, listen, I'm here for you. You guys can email me anytime. All right. And so just to give you a good example of that, I think I mentioned when I was sharing my story, like all the money lessons I just learned from my dad, right? My dad, like I said, he gave us lots of money advice, but one of the things he repeated more than enough was about how he wanted all of us to move out of his house into our own house, right? And he preached it over and over again. And he talked about it over and over again. He even made deals with us and was like, listen, don't worry about getting your first car. I'll take care. I'll buy your first car if you just save your money so that you'll have a down payment for your house, right? And so as a result, me and my sisters became homeowners like in our 20s, right? Because of what my dad was giving to us and feeding us early on while we were under his roof, right? So if owning real estate is something that you want your kids to achieve financially, start talking to them about it now. Start telling them the benefits. Start showing them the way. And so with me being the youngest, the greatest benefit for me was my sister, my oldest sister did it first, right? So she laid out the playbook. She gave us the blueprint. She showed us that, she went to college. After she graduated from college, she lived at home for a year, saved up that years of salary, right? And then accumulated enough to have enough for a down payment. And so that was the pattern that me and my other sisters did in order to buy our first house, right? So it can be as simple as that, okay? All right, the second thing I want you guys to do in order to raise money smart kids, not only talk the talk, I want you to start making money lessons stick. You got to make money lessons stick, right? So how our teen brain learns, right? You have to go through the motions with them. You can't just tell them something. You need to get them moving and active and thinking for themselves so that they can put whatever you're telling them into action. That's how their brain is going to learn, make the connection. They may fall in the process, but that's okay. But our responsibility is to create these learning experiences that's going to stick with them while they're young, so that months, even years later, it comes back to remembrance when the time is right. All right. So I'm going to give you guys some examples for that. So making money lessons stick. I want you to incorporate the 5 money habits that I talk about in the book, and they're on each of those stickies, right? You have to start incorporating these money habits into everyday errands and activities. You got to tie money lessons to the things that your team, what does your team, Brandon, what are his interests? Let me know in the chat. What are the things that your kids are most interested in? Think about those things and tie money lessons to the things that they care about most. And so one of the easiest ways to think about, okay, what does my daughter, what does my son care about most? Think about the milestones that happen for them during these years, right? Is it graduating from their senior class, right? Getting their learner's permit, getting their first job, dating, right? Dating, having their first boyfriend or girlfriend. So you might be talking about them about relationships, and then you tie in some kind of money goal or money lesson into relationships or dating, or not spending too much on people that you're just dating, just talking to them, but finding ways to put money lessons in these conversations. And so it's got to stick. But here's the pain point for us as parents, is that it's going to require discipline on our side. It's going to require patience and consistency, most of all on our side. I know we hate repeating ourselves over and over again, but just like anything else, we are trying to get our child to master, just like our kid wanting to do a back handspring or dunk on the basketball court. They practice that over and over and over again. It's going to be the same thing when it comes to money and money habits. They have to practice it over and over again in order to get it right. And so we have to give them opportunities to do it, right? And so here's an example of Miss Caitlin, who came through our money camp for kids. One of the things I challenge them to do, if they don't have a bank account already, is I say, hey, go to your parents this week and ask them if they'll help you open up a savings account or a checking account if they don't have one, right? And so Miss Caitlin didn't have a savings account. So she opened up her first savings account at 13. And she also invested in her first stock. And her dad mentions that here because that is something that I introduced the students to. I introduced them to the stock market, to buying first stock, how to make their first stock pick. So it's really interesting and engaging for them, right? And so with Miss Caitlin opening up her first savings account, I'm like, show me proof. Don't come back and say, yeah, I opened it. I want to see proof. So they took a picture with her at the bank, because my thing is make it a really big deal so that they understand the importance. And I talk to them about the importance of having a savings account, what you're saving for. We go through all those things, okay? Next, the final step. So you want to talk the talk, you want to make money lessons stick. And then finally, you want to make sure that your teen has exposure and experience. It's all about the exposure and experiences at this age, all right? So somebody put a 1 in the chat if you are a helicopter parent. Anybody want to admit whether or not they are a helicopter parent? Y'all want to admit it? Y'all don't have to admit it, right? Okay, idiot. Okay, let me just give a description of the helicopter parent so we make sure we all on the same page. So when I say helicopter parenting, I'm talking about the parent who might be a little overprotective, right? You might have a very involved parenting style, right? You find yourself hovering all over your kids when it's time for them to make a decision, inserting your opinion and what decision you think they should make. And let me tell you, helicopter parents, I'm picking on you, but you have the best intentions, and I know you do. But as parents, it is important to find ways to expose your kids, to expose your teenagers to real life problems, expose them to real life consequences, and of course, experiences, so that they can have a chance to find their own way, find their own way of thinking in life. And that's why it's so important. Really quickly, I know with experience and with the exposure, it is known that adversity often wakes us up, right? It wakes us up. When we are exposed to new things, your teen will grow as a person, as an individual, and we definitely want them to do that. They will find out that there's more than one way to get things done, right? They'll figure out how to achieve financial goals that they've set for themselves. They'll figure out how to manage money so that so that they can do the things that they really desire to do. Okay. But a lot of times when it comes to money and most things in life, I would say mistakes are often the best teacher. If you think about it, when we have failures, when we miss out on something because of something we didn't do, right? Or when we have to face consequences, that's when it wakes us up. That's when we're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Or next time, I'm going to make a different choice, or I'm going to make a different decision. And so we've got to make sure that we don't make it so easy for them that they never face any adversity, that they never feel any uncomfortableness. Because if it's too easy, they never learn the lessons that need to stick with them, right? So a couple of years ago, I was really active on TikTok at the time, and I was doing this TikTok where I was showing this statistic that's on the screen now. It says 32% of teens can't identify the difference between a credit card and a debit card. And I had a person respond, and she said, I'm not shocked. At 18, I went stupid over my first credit card, didn't realize you got to pay it back because no one taught me, right? And so that totally blew my mind, but I can totally relate. But I don't want your kids to be the person where no one ever taught them the difference between a debit card and credit card. I don't want your child to fall into debt because nobody ever taught them, what they need to look out for. No one ever talked about, the dangers of debt, or a lot of times we scare our kids into be like, never get any debt, right? Debt is a tool that can be used, that can help us build wealth. Nobody talks to our teens about that, but I do, right? So with experience and exposure, this is just some of the feedback that I've gotten from parents over the years, where they're like, Holly, this camp has expanded his thinking around money. My daughter is asking more questions about the economic world, right? These are direct feedback from parents who put our kids through our camp. One father says, I heard my daughter using language such as investments and asking us more about our own stock holdings, right? So they start learning a little something. They're going to start talking a little different. They're going to start moving a little differently, right? And so those are the 3 steps that I wanted to just impart to you tonight. Things that you guys can do independently, whether you decide to enroll your child or your student or not into our camp. You got to start talking the talk. You got to start making money lessons stick. And you got to make sure they have some experiences and some exposures so that they can learn these lessons. And when the parents enroll their kids into our camps, they see a transformation. They see success. There are success stories, and I'm going to share a few of those with you guys later. But of course, my question to you is, will your team be our next success story? Will they? If you on board with your team being our next success story, go ahead and put a yes in the chat. Go ahead and put a yes in the comments, right? Because that is what we want for you all. We want your teens to be our next success story, which is why we are opening up this winter edition of our Future Millionaire Money Camp for Kids. And just to give you guys some insight into what it's all about, it is a hands-on learning experience. It will be virtual on Zoom, but very interactive. I promise you that, right? So it's all about developing a healthy relationship with money. Of course, it's going to improve their financial literacy. It's going to strengthen those critical thinking skills because I give them real life scenarios and things to think about and actually talk to me about in our live sessions. It's going to build their confidence, because when our kids build confidence, let me tell you, they become unstoppable. And so it's a great time to do this because they can do it at home. If you guys are traveling on the weekend, they can log into our app or log on to Zoom and, you know, still engage with us. So something that they can do at home or on the go. Let me tell you, I know that this might not be for everyone. And so if you actually welcome and want your kids to stay dependent on you and your money and your wallet, then, you know, this might not be for you, right? If you want them to stay the same, you want them to continue to look to you for all the answers, then all right, this might not be for you, right? If you don't feel like you can invest, make a small investment of time, because this will be 1 to 2 hours per week, right? It's going to take them a few hours each week in order to give them the solid financial foundation, right? So if you don't think they have any time, they don't have an hour, they don't have 2 hours each week to dedicate and commit to this, then, you know, this might not be for you. But this is for you if you want to be that intentional parent, you want to feed your kids curiosity or even their desire to become more independent. This would be a great experience for them. If you want them to be more conscious and aware about money management and what it takes, and actually have them practice some healthy money habits, then this absolutely is for them. If you want them to be involved in solving real life problems, because I hit them off with different scenarios so they can really think about it and apply it. And it's scenarios that are relevant to them right now at their age, then this will be an awesome experience and opportunity for them. All right. So with our Money Camp for Kids, the value is at $1,350. But we know that's not your price. But let me talk about what it covers, right? Because the curriculum is rich. So week 1, we dive into goal setting and earning money. Week 2, it's all about saving and investing. Week 3, we talk about spending money and credit. We, you know, introducing them to credit, letting them know what they should know as teenagers. Week 4, we wrap it up with giving, okay? And so with this curriculum, this is not, let me tell you what it is not. It is not your low energy virtual instruction. Hopefully you feeling some of what I can give just in our information session, right? But we are here to disrupt their week-long, you know, born week at school when they don't have nothing to say, they don't have nothing to report, right? We want to give them some body moving, gym dropping, quick life skills that your teenager will be able to practice long after they wrap up with me. All right. So let's dive a little deeper. Here's what we're going to cover in each of those weeks, right? So week 1, I said goal setting, right? Goal setting. We're going to make sure that they understand the relationship between working hard and working smart and being rewarded, right? So we dive into their dreams. We discuss goal setting. We talk about ways that they can start earning money at their age, right? So if your child is interested and has an entrepreneurial spirit, I'm encouraging that. I'm promoting it, as a matter of fact, right? I'm like, think of some things that you can do, even if it's not like your traditional after school job, or, you know, what are some things that you can do in order to earn money at your age? So we dive into that. Week 2, like I said, it's all about stacking that cash. We know that saving is the foundation of investing, and then investing is that catalyst to build that long-term wealth that we want them to experience. So campers, they're going to learn the importance of saving. We're going to talk about investing at a young age, how to get started. We're going to talk about the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, how to research stock and make their first stock pick. So if it's something that they're interested in, they will then be equipped to do that well informed. All right. Week 3, we are jumping into spending wisely and using credit responsibly. And this, the theme overarching in week 3 is how your money is your power, right? We introduce them to the marketing tactics that are used to promote wasteful spending. We talk about what are the things they need to think about when they're making a spending choice, right? We talk to them about creating a spending plan that they can use throughout the year, how credit works, when it's appropriate to use credit, when it might not be a good idea to use credit. So we dive into all of that week 3. And then week 4 is all about giving. So this is probably my most favorite money habit, because we not only want to raise future millionaires, right? We want to raise future millionaires who also demonstrate empathy, who demonstrate compassion, right? Who knows what it feels like to reach back, to lift somebody up. And so our campers, we learn to implement the 3 T's of giving to tie giving into their talents and to their interests, right? So we are not talking about giving like it's a chore or it's a sacrifice. No, instead, giving is all about we're making it something that's fun, that's enjoyable, something that they actually want to do and participate in. And so I don't want you to just hear it from me. I have a whole website that's full of testimonials from different parents, from teenagers who have actually completed the course. But I did bring a few. I brought just a few because I do want you to hear from parents and just get their perspective. And so part of the Money Camp experience is I do an exit interview with all my parents afterwards. And so here's one parent and just her perspective on what she saw in her daughter who participated in our camp.
Hey, so I'm Dr. Jen Robinson, and I'm a first-generation poverty disruptor. I signed my daughter up, my 15-year-old, for the Money Camp for Kids. And one of the main reasons that I signed her up is because when I was her age, I learned how to pay bills. I didn't learn how to manage money. And as someone who has effectively created wealth for my family, I wanted to make sure that it could be properly managed and that we were setting her up to be able to live a life that wasn't about struggle. And so some of the things that she's learned and is still able to do is to be able to generate money, but also to save more than she spends. She manages our entertainment budget for our family of 5. And these are things that she's still doing almost a year after leaving the program. And so just really a solid foundation about money management, but also financial literacy and wealth building. And so making sure while you are creating those opportunities for your kids that you're actually giving them the tools to benefit from everything that you're putting in their pipeline. And so 100% I would recommend this program for anyone if you're even thinking about making sure that your kid is prepared. Regardless of what your background or circumstances are, this is an amazing program to help you do that.
All right, so that was from Dr. Adetta Robinson. And so with the Money Camp, we talked about the value, want to make sure you understand what's included in the camp. So this is for ages 14 and up, right? It's going to be a structured 4 weeks of session. This includes 1 hour of live instruction. And then I assign them some action items that they should complete during that week to actually start practicing the money habit that we discussed during that live session. The curriculum is engaging. It is tailored to your teen's interests, to their skill level, right? And so they will also have access to an online portal, which is going to include some downloadable worksheets, some extra activities if they want to go deeper into the money habit before we get together the following week. And I sweeten the deal and include motivation for your team by adding in this prize and cash incentive element, right? So we do this earn and learn incentive where they show me what they learned. They do the work, they show up, and then they are eligible for prizes and cash incentives throughout the course. And at the end, they'll receive a certificate of completion. Now, for this specific session, it's going to be held on Sundays. We are going to kick off on Sunday, February 25th, and then each Sunday after with the last session being on March 17th before we hit Easter. All right. So it's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, it's only 1 hour. So that's all it takes for them to show up. And so here, I just wanted to share a few more feedback from parents, right? I have parents who say, Holly, I love the diversity of the course. Remote learning was difficult for my child, but Holly was so energetic and engaging that he loved learning. That was back during the pandemic when people weren't used to being on Zoom, right? And so just a few things from parents, but I also want to share with you what some of our teens had to say. So here's one of our teens. Her name is Miss Amora. Miss Amora, I asked them for their feedback, right? Their candid feedback. I asked them for, what did you like about it? What did you dislike about it? What did you wish we could have done more of? Because every iteration, every cohort of students, I am on a mission to make this better, right? To improve it, to make sure that they are getting what we're trying to put down, all right? So I want you to hear just from what Amora had to say about the camp. And let me see if it'll play for me.
Hi, my name is Amora, and something that I enjoyed the most when doing this program is I really enjoyed learning more about money, not just about spending it and saving it, but also investing and other things like that, and what to do to earn more money. And something that I learned was about the stock market, what companies to invest in, researching about the companies, and making sure that you're investing at the right place, and just about it, which was really interesting to me. And something that I plan to do moving forward is probably just saving my money a lot more, investing some of my money into some companies, and yeah, just being more mindful of what I do with my money. And yeah, that's all. So have a great day.
So I think this is so important because if all this did was make your kids more mindful about how they are spending their money or how they are spending your money, wouldn't it be worth it, right? So if all this did was give your child, spark their interest into learning to invest, or for them to have a light bulb moment on what they think they want to do as a career or what they think they want to do, wouldn't it be worth it? And I think many of you would agree that yes, it would. And so I am encouraging each of you to go ahead and enroll your kids in our money camp. All right. So I'm going to drop the link so that you guys can go and visit the checkout link. But again, with this, your investment is only going to be $297. Let me tell you, this is the early bird limited offer. This offer will not last long. So if this is something you think your teenager would be interested in, then I say get right up on it, right? So in the comments, I've put the link for you to go, and you can go and check out and enroll your teen. And so there is more. All right. So can I give y'all more? Can I give y'all just a little bit more before I open it up for Q&A? I'm gonna give y'all just a little bit more. All right. So not only will you have the engaging curriculum, they will learn all the things, but I got some bonuses for you, right? So one, I offer a free sibling policy. Being born and raised in a large family, it was tough to be heard no, because we couldn't afford to pay full, because my parents couldn't afford to pay full price for everyone, right? So the free policy is, if as long as the teens are in the same household, then two can come in at that introductory, at the early bird price, right? If you have more than 3 teenagers in the same household, because my parents did, right? Then it's only $50 additional for each additional teen that registers and participates in the program, right? Okay, Each camper is going to get their own money camp swag. They'll be introduced to our smart cards, Future Millionaire smart cards, which is going to help them learn the language of money. And so I have some cool activities to help them learn the language, elevate their language so that a lot of this terminology that's out there doesn't intimidate them, but becomes a stepping stool. You hear me? They can talk the talk. They're going to be able to walk the walk and master and practice money like a pro. All right. And so I don't stop just with the bonuses. I do offer a guarantee. Now, the guarantee is this: give your kids 7 days. Just try the program out. Enroll your teen. Try it out. If your teen is not excited about coming back after that first session, then you just let me know within 7 days. You let me know and I'll make it right. But here's what I do know. What I do know is if your teen is engaged, if they are actively participating, you are going to see some powerful results. You're going to see transformation in what they're talking about, how they are thinking about money. So this is a valuable opportunity that I implore you to take advantage of and enroll your teenagers today. All right. So here's again the value. We've talked about the curriculum, everything that we're covering. That's at a value of $1,350. That extended bonus package, right, is valued at $500. So the camp swag, the smart cards, the sibling policy, right? All of that is going to be packaged up. That's valued at $500. So your total value for the program is just under $2,000, right? And so my question for you is, are your teenagers worth it? Are your teenagers worth it? Are your teens' financial future, is it worth the investment? And if you believe that it is, all you have to do is click on the link that I've placed in the chat and take action now. All right. So when you take action, when you go to the checkout page, it's just going to ask you for your contact information. You can pay the early bird price all in one payment. And then it's gonna ask you to fill out the enrollment form so that we can gather some information about you and about your camper, so we can start getting in touch and getting you ready for our kickoff on Sunday, February 25th. So again, the value $1,850. Your investment is only $297. This is our limited early bird offer. It will not be around long. So again, I just encourage you to take advantage of this offer. I put the link in the chat again. And now I'm about to open it up for Q&A. All right. So if you have any questions at all, this will be your chance. You can put it in the chat. If you want to come off of mute, I am more than welcome to honor that, since it's a small number of us in the Zoom room, but only those on Zoom. And then if you want to join live, if you miss me and you're watching on any of the platforms where I'm streaming, you can shoot me any questions to info@themasterplaybook.com. So info@themasterplaybook.com. But I do want to open it up to questions. So are there any questions? One of the more frequent or popular questions that I get a lot of times is, well, Holly, on Sundays, that can be a busy day for us, or, I don't know when my child's assignment is going to be due for school. So what if there's a conflict, or what if there's, what if my child has a conflict on one of the days? Well, the answer is you're in good hands. We record each of the sessions. I make the recordings available as, shortly after the live session actually happens. And so your teenager can watch the replay and they'll be caught right back up as if they were live in the session with us. They can complete the action items and then just jump right back in the next week and pick right back up. All right. And trying to think of any other common questions. Sometimes I get questions around, well, my child is 13, they're almost 14. Can they be in the program? And I say that is totally up to you. If your 13-year-old, if they are mature, you think they're going to do the work and participate and be active, then absolutely, I more than welcome them to participate in the program if they're on that age cusp, right? And so again, if you have any questions at all, just let me know. You can email me. But as promised, for attending, for staying to the end, I will send you, as a matter of fact, I'll just drop it in the chat as well. I think I can do that. I don't know if I can. I think I can do that. I'm going to come off and I think I can do it better. But I'm going to put in the chat the link to our to where you can get this Money Talks resource. Because again, I think it's a valuable resource. And so I'm just dropping that in the chat. It's a valuable resource to start money conversations in the home. You can click on that and just enter your information, and then it'll come to you right away. And if you guys want to share this with other parents, if you know that there are other parents that should have been here tonight, should have heard this information, where the family would be interested if they heard what you heard tonight, we are hosting another parent information session next Tuesday, which will be February 13th. All you have to do is sign up for that. And then we'll do this again for those who weren't able to make it tonight on a Tuesday. All right. So I appreciate you guys. If there are no other questions, then I'm going to wrap it up with just thank you. Thank you for attending. I look forward to working with your teenager. And we're going to kick off on Sunday, February 25th. So I will see them inside. Isn't that right, Brandon? All right. I'll see y'all inside. Feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions. Look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye.